Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Cinderella phenomenon Evermore, and we are just continuing Claude's route. We are probably toward the end of chapter 3, I think, but we didn't quite get chapter 2 and chapter 3 in the last part, so we're just continuing. We still have like one more choice, but we'll see how long it takes. Get into chapter 4, whatever. Anyway, days pass after that, and the usual schedule begins to fall back into place. Claude has returned to his usual morning meetings with the king and his class sessions. Right, it's after our birthday. My own schedule is composed of meetings and lessons, including magic practices with Delora and Waltz. On top of all those things, I have the lessons that I mentioned to Lance. Lance took my suggestion to ask Claude for assistance to heart, which means that I had to find time that worked for all three of us. In the end, we decided on a time after Claude's lesson. And that's why we're all gathered in the dining hall now. You're so stiff, you could be a sculptor. Lance attempts to relax his shoulders and ends up slouching. Llama, have you forgotten all those lessons we took together? I thought your memory was better than that. Lance smiles sheepishly. I notice his eyes flicker to me, then down to the floor again. Am I making him nervous? I could leave. No! They both speak at the same time. Claude sighs as he runs a hand through his hair. For a few moments, annoyance flickers into his expression, then quickly fades away. I'm sorry, Karma. Apologize by getting it right. I know you can do this. We both took speaking lessons together. Now, start again. Lance once again squares his shoulders and looks at the two of us solemnly. He's about to speak when Claude holds out his hand. Why do you look so angry? If you have that scowl fixed to your face, you'll intimidate your audience. Lance cringes as he tries to settle his expression into something gentler. A small smile slips onto his face and Claude sighs again. And now you're smiling. Don't frown, don't smile. Don't have a resting bitch face. Look, I can't help it, this is my face. What exactly is the problem? You know the problem. I'm terrible at crowds. No, that's not it. You've spoken to crowds plenty of times before. This has nothing to do with the audience at all, does it? It's the subject material. Well, of course I'd be stressed about the subject material. This is a speech announcing my inevitable ascension to the throne. How can I not be stressed about it? Most times I feel like I'm not worthy of the title of king. When Claude remains silent, Lance crosses his arms and looks at him quizzically. Karma? Claude's only response is a sullen glare. Why is he so angry? I don't understand. Don't understand? It's an honor to be crowned a king. We've been preparing for that duty our whole lives. You've known as long as I that this honor would one day be bestowed upon us. Never once have I seen you struggle or complain. And yet now that I'm out of the picture, you suddenly flounder. Because he didn't have this responsibility. You did. He was always just going to be a prince. He was never going to be the king. Unless you died. But he was pretty much like, yeah, by the time... Like, if you think about it, you're the younger sibling. Like, I'm the youngest sibling, right? If I lived in a monarchy or whatever, right? My sister, my oldest sister, would be a motherfucking queen when my mom died. Not me. Like, I mean, if we lived in, like, the society where it's like, well, whoever. Natural born heir. If I had an older brother, you know what I mean? The oldest child takes over. So, like, if you're Lance, you're like, Claude's gonna take over. Sure, I have to be royal and stuff, but I don't really have the weight of being a king, and they're not training you. They're like, you're just a spare, and the spare doesn't get the time, I'm sure, that the heir gets. And then all of a sudden now, the heir's like, not gonna be the heir, you spare, it's your turn, and you're like, fuck. Like, and now you've gotta, like, unless you're a douche canoe, Lance is like, no, you were always gonna do that, I'm just the spare, and like, sure, if all of a sudden you died and didn't have your own heir, then I would have to take it, but like, chances of that happening are slim, and nobody fucking expects that shit. That's like the Spanish Inquisition, nobody fucking expects it, right? So, I'm just saying, like, now Lance is like, fuck, I got thrown under the bus and I don't know what to do. Like, We were not raised that way, Claude. You were raised that way. Lance is just a fucking spare on the side that just thought he would never get needed. You know what I mean? Karma. I did not give up that title just so you could bring shame to it. Lance stares at him, obviously shocked by this turn in the conversation. My surprise mirrors his. What? What? Both of us speak in unison. I'm disappointed in you, Lance. The anger on Claude's face is alarmingly palpable. He glares at Lance, who's looking more and more like he might succumb beneath that gaze. This isn't right, but we're supposed to interject. Yeah. Woo! Stand up to our man. Hell yeah, he's being a bit of a dick right now. I thought this was meant to be a practice session, not a lecture. Chastising someone's not assisting them, Claude. This may be their lesson, but Claude's being unnecessarily harsh. Spacey. We frowned at each other for a few moments. Our gazes locked. In the end, it's Claude that deflates and looks away first. Hell yeah, because I'm the fucking queen. I'm the queen. You're just my prince. You don't get to be... You don't even think... Well, maybe in this you get to be... Well, she's Queen Ophelia. You get to be king in name, but you're not really a fucking king. You know, you still just always going to be a prince here. Sure, in this game he's still a king, but like... Queen Ophelia would never actually be the queen. I mean, I guess it depends, but like... In the British monarchy, that's not how it is. The queen is the queen, and her husband is a prince. He ain't the king, because he didn't earn that title. He wasn't born into that title. He married into it. Like, you know what I mean? So, like... Anyway. The vulnerable expression on his face is both heartbreaking and confusing. Right? Isn't that the case? Yeah, right? Yeah, that's how it works. Her husband is the prince. He's not the king. Wouldn't be a king until she died and, like, Charles took over, but he's gonna be dead before her, so, like... Look, the queen's gonna be around forever. We're never gonna know what's gonna fucking happen. We're gonna die before she does. Just saying. He looks guilty, which means that he knows that what he's saying is wrong. Oh, he knows that he's in the wrong. So why is he acting like this? Karma, is something wrong? Maybe he regrets leaving his kingdom for me. That would hurt me. Claude scowls. I'm unable to withhold my opinion. I step forward, eyebrows furrowed. Lance was simply asking for help, and now you're angry at him for some reason. This isn't about him. This is about you, isn't it? Claude? If this is about my being stressed, then I apologize. I want to do my best when giving this speech. The last thing I want to do is embarrass Father. The dining hall doors open and a few servants enter, breaking apart the conversation. Lance and Claude immediately fix a smile to their faces as if nothing has happened. We'll continue this next time, Lance. Of course. The two give each other courteous nods before Claude turns and walks away. As he passes by me, he leans over and whispers into my ear. I'm sorry you had to see that, darling. I'll explain later. Unless he's trying to toughen him up. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, I'm giving him tough love. I'm being rude to him so that he mans up and stops being afraid. Well, legit, but you don't need to be that harsh. You need to, like, sometimes some people need tough love and some people need, like, the straight up honest support. Like, look, this is difficult. You've been training for this your whole life. I know you thought you'd never have to do it and it's scary and it's nerve-wracking, but you can do this. You have the talent, you have the skills, and they need that little bit of propping up to go, yeah, you're right, I do. Not be like, smack, what the fuck is wrong with you, asshole? Some people don't work well with that. Okay? These are the last words he speaks before he leaves the dining hall. Not too long after he's left, I follow behind, gripping the lily necklace tightly in my fingers and grumbling to myself. And just when I thought things were returning to normal. Things will never be normal. Look at that, we could have almost a kingdom's weight. We could have almost gotten that in the last part. Minus my rambling, it probably would have only taken a few more minutes, but... And this will be the last point, princess. Jurian rushes forward, and without counting down to the last second. She holds her sword low, and I can tell that she means to strike at my hip. I bring out my blade to block her attack. The swords collide, but not for long. Her blade slips past mine and rises to meet my shoulder. I step back just in time to catch her next strike. This was supposed to be a practice session with Claude, but he disappeared earlier this morning before I could catch him. Ever since that strange fight happened with his brother, he'd been conveniently busy. Why is he avoiding me? I'm barely able to dodge Jurian's next strike as I delve deeper into my thoughts. It's not just Claude's business that bothers me. Ever since he and Lance fought, I've been having nightmares that are most likely fueled by the Tenebrarum. They tend to be an after effect of negative energy. I feel an agitated strand of electricity snake its way up my arm and quickly shake it off before Jurian can touch me. Though I'm fast enough to dispel the magic, I'm not quick enough to bring my sword up in time. Jurian gains the final point by tapping her blade on my shoulder. You were distracted. Are you okay, Princess? I'm fine. Does this have anything to do with Prince Claude? He seemed a little off-kilter lately. A Garland said yesterday that he looked tired enough to collapse right there in the hallways. He is, as always, overworking himself. He'll be fine. He's obviously not all right. I should try speaking with him later. I sheath the sword I'm holding. Thank you for agreeing to meet for a practice on such late notice. It's always a pleasure, Your Highness. It's an honor for Garland and I to help you with your swordplay. After sheathing her own sword, Jerry and I make our way over to the tree stump, where we've stored our supplies. The last items we pick up are the flowers resting carefully at its base. We make our way silently through the trees and into a clearing, where a single gravestone lies illuminated in gentle sunlight. Jurian heads over to the gravestone first and sets down her flower. Oh, Fritz died? Why don't I remember that? What? I feel sad. I don't remember that! I was wondering why he wasn't at our birthday party. But I cannot, seriously, the fun thing about not playing a second part of a game for like a year after the first is like when shit happens that you should remember and you don't, you're like, oh, I got hit with the feels, I don't remember this! It's like he died all over again, because I don't remember that at all. Like, at all. I mean, I remember Fritz and Varg being like the same fucking person and like whatever, but I don't remember anything that came out of it. You know what I mean? What you doing, buddy? He's got a donkey in there. It's like a piñata. It's like a bird piñata. He could ride it. It's like twice the size of him. And like, you're supposed to put like food in it, like foraging toys, so they rip it to shreds. It's definitely made for like a parrot or a bigger bird than him, but it's just cute watching him like poke at it and play with it. You hitting your piñata? You like your birdle? Birdle? Just like saying that, I don't know. You go play with him. I know, I was looking at you because you're being cute. You don't play with them. Sometimes you don't play with all the toys in your cage, so I get excited when I see you playing with a new toy. Even though it's been in there for years. You know, anyway, sorry. I just got distracted because I could see it out of the corner of my eye, and... Look, I'm entertained by my stupid bird, alright? Shut up. Anyway. Hello, Fritz. She smiles as I set down my lily. I take a step back to look at the gravestone, which has Fritz's name and title engraved into it. I really don't remember this. Fritz. For a few moments, I'm stuck staring at the gravestone in quiet contemplation. No matter how many years pass, I'll never forget the smile he wore on his face as he died, or the apology he uttered with his dying breath. Good for you, but I forgot all of this. After everything that he did, the least I can do is visit him here once a month to pay my respects. Normally, it's Claude that's here to pay his respects with me. I lean down beside the gravestone and speak to Fritz briefly. It's a small thing, just a simple prayer for him. Jurian does the same. When we're done, I bow my head slightly and whisper, I hope you're happy wherever you are, Fritz. After we're done, we head back to the palace together. I'm glad they put that in there, otherwise I would have totally forgot. Look, I still totally forgot everything that, it wasn't even like, oh, right, I can't remember. My mind is like, huh? But our time together is brief. We both have our own commitments for the day. Jurian is nights she must supervise, and I have an obligation to meet with my father and the counselors. After exchanging farewells at the front gate, we both go on our own ways. I feel weird if there's anybody who watched the original Cinderella phenomenon right before starting this one. So not like right when it's going up, but like even somewhere like a year in the future, like, oh, I'm gonna watch this and then watch this, like watch the original and then this, because there's so much time in between. But if you watch them back to back, Like, and you're like, oh, there's only a couple days. It's got to be so weird because first of all, the voices are nowhere near the same. Second of all, you just watched a part, and now you're watching this and you're like, I have no idea what just happened. It's got to be weird for people in those situations. It's okay. That was me several years ago and me now, and we don't talk, okay? Past me does not talk to current me. Look, I don't know. I'm lucky I remember shit I did last week. I'm not even sure what last week was. I'm not even sure what today is. Anyway, after exchanging farewells at the front gate, we both go our own ways. Much to my surprise, the throne room is devoid of the usual advisors when I enter. The king's seated at the head of a mostly empty table. I was wondering if our father was going to be in here, and does he look completely fucking different than he did in the original game? Because I feel like his hair is like poofier, and he looks nothing like I remember. Like, am I just dumb, or did he, like, 100% fucking change? He did not look anything like I remember at fucking all. Like, not. Eyes, maybe, because wasn't it, like, we look like we have his eyes, like the same gold kind of eyes, but, like, color-wise, aside, and dark hair, remember that, but I don't remember any. I know it's been a few years, but, like, I'm gonna need you to not be so drastically different. Claude's the only one that sits beside him. The two of them pause in their conversation and look up at me. Claude flashes me a sheepish smile. I scowl back at him. The king looks between the two of us quizzically, but doesn't comment as I take my seat on the opposite side of the table. I thought this was a meeting to discuss the implementation of a new law. Where are the counselors? Father just smiles at me. He's mediating a fucking marital dispute. There was a change in schedule. It turns out that the law we were meant to discuss today has not been appropriately plotted. The counselors were meant to have proposals ready today, but I concluded that many of them weren't aptly prepared and thus decided to reschedule. Their disorganization is astounding. It's no matter. The meeting has already been rescheduled to a time that's more convenient for everyone. Seeing as this time had opened up, I decided to reserve it for both of you instead. Father turns to regard Claude. Have you given any thought to the situation I posed yesterday? I have. Situation? I know Claude and Father met on a regular basis for special meetings, but Claude doesn't tell me much beyond the fact that the king usually tests him in some way. Claude turns to look at me, his expression solemn. Oh, I feel bad about this. I feel like scared. And the king gave me a hypothetical scenario a few days ago and told me to come up with a solution to it. And the situation is this. A threat to the kingdom of Angeal stands at the outskirts of the country, and the threat is a group of dangerous witches. Ouch, Dad. Witches. The word forces me to reflect on Angeal's current situation. Though tension between witches and humans has significantly decreased over the past few years, there are still undoubtedly corrupt witches in our midst. It doesn't matter that the fairy tale curse doesn't exist anymore. There are still witches who use their magic to threaten humans. But humans who threaten other humans, so yeah, good and bad exist. I've been trying my best to settle these affairs as the Tenebrarum bearer, but even my influence isn't all-powerful. I suppose the king's scenario isn't inappropriate given the kingdom's current social climate. I think that, but I still can't help but feel my heart sink at the thought. Though Claude tells me I shouldn't blame myself for these incidents, I can't help it. Even though I'm being helped by a lot of people, it's still my obligation to speak with witches and smooth out the tensions between them and humans. I shake my head as if to physically dispel the thoughts from my mind, and turn my attention back to the conversation at hand. In this scenario, the witches have already harmed some of the citizens. Given this kingdom's previous history with them, what action would you take as king to dispel the threat? Both Father and I stare critically at Claude. I know this is like you're gonna say something that's gonna make my father happy, but it's gonna piss me off. Like, it's gonna be interesting. Or maybe we're reasonable and we're like, nope, reasonable. My answer still remains the same, Your Majesty. I'd refuse to meet the threat with hostility until I've captured and spoken to them. I don't believe that I alone would have the right to judge them. I'd speak with a witch on the matter before passing judgment. How would you explain this to the townsfolk? What do you mean? What if many of the citizens, still wary of witches because of the war, advocated for an immediate death sentence? We would do the same thing for humans, wouldn't we? Tom set foot on my property, you should kill him. Okay, that's not how we do shit. And they would expect the same respect. I feel a soft pang in my heart at the statement. Whenever Father says things like that, I can't help but imagine the atrocities the witches had to face here in Angeal during the war. Your father was kind of a douche about witches, wasn't he? Like, if I remember, I don't remember, but... I mean, I kind of get it. Like, everyone was, like, being evil. But your wife was also fucking evil. I'm just saying. Like... I would say that such a decision would be inhuman. In my eyes, condemning anyone to death is an unforgivable crime. Besides that, everyone deserves a trial, no matter if they be a human, a witch, or a fairy. Even given Spacey's efforts to heal the divide between witches and humans, the rift still exists. The relationship hangs on a precious thread. If we disregard a trial, we risk harming that already fragile relationship. Then what would you do when faced with this imminent threat? It goes without saying that I would speak with the Tenebrarum bearer first. Since she and the Lucius bearer are in charge of maintaining peace at the most basic level, it's imperative that we seek their counsel first. At the same time, we should prioritize the safety of the civilians that might be in danger. Second, intensify security. There are no actions to be taken before we ask the opinions of the bearers. In this scenario, it would make more sense to speak with the Tenebrarum bearer first. Imagine that the Tenebrarum bearer is unavailable in this situation. The sole responsibility to act lies on your shoulders, Claude. Both Claude and I stare at the king. Unavailable? In this hypothetical situation, yes. Perhaps the Tenebrarum bearer is an important meeting. Whatever the case, she's unavailable. I'm in an important meeting. I'm pretty sure no important meeting is as important as protecting the lives of witches and humans both. I'm sorry, but it's my fucking monthly nail appointment, Claude. You're gonna have to fucking wait. That's not gonna fly, Dad. What you mean is I'm fucking dead. You stabbed me, didn't you, you son of a bitch? I killed her in this situation. I mean, I could be dead. That is definitely an important meeting that I cannot get out of, if you think about it. Well, if you cannot rely on anyone else, what decision do you make? Claude looks at the king, composed but quiet. He looks like he's struggling to figure out what to say. Ah, okay. We remain silent. It's interesting because I saw this in the guide, remain silent, assist him, and I'm like, wouldn't assisting him be better? And then I'm like, I guess it depends on the situation. This is the situation. It's best to let him do it himself. It's not my place to speak. The king may have called me here, but this is Claude's test. Besides, I know that he knows how to answer. Claude finally speaks, a little hesitantly at first. I think it's interesting, okay, because yes, it is the king's job to help guide his daughter and the future king to, like, write answers and, like, help them because they've never been in this position before and he has. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter that you've been raised to kind of be ready to lead. You have never led before. So, having the king throw out ideas to you or kind of give you guidance on things that he's experienced is far more helpful than just fucking figure it out when I die, bitch, right? That's why you have advisors and people that are there to guide you. But at the same time, it's kind of douchey that he's like, well, what would you do? I would, confer with these people. Well, what if they're not available? You're basically waiting. I feel like you're waiting for me to be like, you know what? You think we should kill him, so I'm going to kill him. You're waiting for me to give you the answer that I think you want to hear. And that's bullshit. Stop it. You're King A, I'm King B. We're going to rule differently. Yes, there are going to be things we totally agree on. Like, that seems legit. But there's going to be shit that's like, no, you're psycho. That's crazy. Not burning the witches. Holy shit. You know what I mean? And hypothetical situations are interesting. But, I feel like the king here is more like, what would you do? What would you do? And, you're going to judge him based on that. Without, the psychology behind it. Well, see, your answer to this tells me that this is really what it is, and blah, blah, blah. And, you didn't give me the answer I wanted. I don't know, I just feel like the douche vibes coming off this scenario, and not good job, I'm glad you were thinking for yourself. You know what I mean? You have no one to rely on but yourself. I mean, I live in a fucking kingdom, and yeah, I'm the king and all, but that's bullshit! There's 7 billion people all around here whose job it is to support me, so I will never be just me on my own. And if it is ever just me on my own, that is because the world is fucking ending, and like, bitch, nothing I do is gonna fucking matter. The shit's going down. Like, we're all gonna die at that point. Like, yeah. With all due respect, Your Majesty, a king rules for the people, yes? Even if he was just a human king, he has a responsibility to oversee the safety of all civilians in his kingdom, human or not. And thus I would say it necessary that he seek guidance from others. The kingdom has a responsibility to work with the witches to solve this problem. And again, it's necessary to rely on other people, especially when you're a king, and so much falls on your shoulders. There have got to be people to help you support that weight. You are literally not a fucking island. Sometimes you can only rely on yourself. But in the scheme of life, overall, the overarching, you always have, there's going to be times where you have to rely on other people. You cannot do everything 100% solo. There's a lot of things you can do solo and are probably best done your goddamn self instead of relying on people. But there's plenty of other stuff that you need to rely on to balance. Gennaro over here being like, I'm my own fucking island! No, you're not. Such collaboration is vital to maintaining peace. To skew that balance even more by condemning a group of witches to death wouldn't just be a fool's move. It'd be an echo of the same heartlessness that started the war in the first place. Did you just bitch slap my father with words? The king looks at him, thoughtful. When the Great War broke out, Brigantia was uninvolved. My father has always disliked war. He has always believed that violence only begets more violence. It's for this reason that we didn't come to anyone's aid in the previous skirmish. I heard about the notorious Hilda group growing up. The stories of her radiant beauty and strength, of her intimidating but regal existence. When those stories became tales of a woman whose heart was made of ice, I wasn't fearful. I was saddened. I often wondered what could be done to bring such a noble figure to madness. Wait, didn't she, now that I'm remembering this, like our mother was, evil. Why was our father, didn't she con him into either marrying her or, put a spell on him or something? He didn't, I love you, you're amazing! She fucking tricked his ass, either with a spell or was like, no, I'm, nice, and then, then when he married her, she was like, ha ha ha, I'm an evil witch! I don't remember which one it was, but there was some kind of tricking for her treating involved, is all I'm saying. It wasn't just treats. It was lots and lots of tricks for her to get her treats. And I just don't remember which way it worked out, but... I've met a good many witches in Angeal, and I can say with pure conviction that there are many that can be trusted, even despite the current divide. A king may wear a crown on his head and have the final say, but he must always take advice from those that have more experience than him. It's so strange to see Claude so humble. Because he knows when to be humble and when to be an arrogant ass. I love him, though. Speaking outside of hypotheticals, Your Majesty, I'm extremely lucky. The Spacey will make the perfect queen. I am going to be the queen. You'll make the perfect king by my side. You're not ruling this. I am, bitch. What the fuck? Let's not play that game. She's a natural-born ruler who has learned balance better than any of us. You still manage to be a flatterer no matter the situation. I say that, but I can't help but smile. At first, there's no immediate response to Claude's words. Father looks thoughtful as he strokes his chin, taking in his words. Then abruptly he laughs. Claude flushes faintly. Did I speak out of line, Your Majesty? No, not at all. I'm just amused. I did not know the Brigantian king well, but on the occasions that I've met with him, he has spoken just as you have. He is a man that upholds his morals, no matter the danger. Some may see it as selfishness or naivety, but in the end, he always strived for balance and peace. And that's the reason you took up the sword, isn't it? To protect the peace? The flush in Claude's cheeks becomes a dark pink. Seeing him so embarrassed in front of the king makes me smirk. Yes, Your Majesty. I should also mention that he plays with swords because he finds them flashy. Spacey, darling. The king laughs before waving the comment off with a smile. I'm not worried about you, either of you. When the time comes for you to wear crowns, I know that this kingdom will be in capable hands. It's a blessing that I still have father here to guide my hand. I've always been prepared to take on responsibility as the queen, but I also know that it's a very heavy weight. I'm glad I'm closer with father now, so that I can seek his counsel. And it also helps that, yes, Claude's going to be the king. He comes from a royal family. He knows the responsibility and can manage and help you out. It's a balance as opposed to I'm the queen and you're just my pretty boy on the side. You're my arm candy prince. It's well, no, you were raised to run a country, so you know how to do this shit too. So two heads better than one kind of thing. As opposed to hey, I'm just here to look pretty on your arm, bitch. That's the job that I want. I just want to look pretty on your arm. I'm not very skilled for that, but man, it's the dream. I don't want the responsibility. I just want to be the arm candy, okay? Again, do not have the qualifications for that, but, the two of you are excused. Your Majesty. That's all I required of you today, Claude. And the same goes for you, Spacey. I'll let you know when I've rescheduled the meeting with the advisors. Both Claude and I sigh out in unison when the king excuses us. The two of us have barely left our seats when the king speaks again. I am sorry, Spacey. Sorry? I hope you didn't find that scenario offensive in any way. Perhaps once I might have, but I understand Father's reasoning. I'm glad that he's making an effort to understand my feelings, at least. I never meant to imply that you weren't doing a good job keeping the balance as the Tenebrae-bearer. I'm proud of you and the work you put into this kingdom. Thank you, Your Majesty. We don't say thanks, Dad. We're thank you, Your Majesty. Aw, Dad. Shucks, Dad. He would have been please, be more formal. Just kidding. I wouldn't mind being called father every once in a while, Oh, see, he would have liked that. Oh, okay, Dad. Sup, Pops? The two of us exchange smiles before I turn back to Claude. By the time I turn around, however, he's already at the doors. Even as I watch, he passes through them without glancing back. He knows we're mad at him. He doesn't want to deal with it. My earlier contentedness fades away into agitation. He's not getting away. I hurriedly say my farewells to the king before rushing out the door after Claude. Claude has only made it a few steps down the hallway when I hold out my hand and gather ice at my fingertips. She's gonna spill the bitch! The ice gathers at Claude's feet and roots him in place. That's fucking funny. You expect her to just run after him and be tackle him. She's ice this bitch. You're not going anywhere, motherfucker! If you've got ice magic, use it, right? Not so fast, coward prince. Spacey, love, did you stop me just so you could tell me how impressed you were with my performance in there? He seems about to say something else before he stops to look at me. The glower on my face must be intense, for it makes his good cheer wither immediately. The music in this part got really fucking loud. Holy shit. I turned it down before because it did seem a little too loud, but all of a sudden it's blasting in my ear. I don't know how loud it is for you. Hopefully it's not bad, but... Explain, now. Oh, you mean about the... Oh, you! Get out of here! I'm trying to have a conversation! Claude stops to glance at someone approaching behind me. I barely have any time to follow his gaze before I notice that Lance has stepped in between us, frowning. My god, the music's really loud. Okay, here's my thing. This is my complaint. If you're going to have music in the game, all of the tracks should be at the same level, not one's really quiet and then one's really loud. Because this is distracting me. I feel it's so goddamn loud compared to every other music that's been in the game. Either that or my hearing just fucking went up 50 times. Holy shit. And my headset is as low as it goes. It will not go any further. It's basically off, but not off. Which is really fucking weird. You'd think that turning it down as far as it goes would be muting the sound. Doesn't. And it's fucking it's not so loud that I can't hear anything, but it's so loud that it's distracting when I'm trying to read. And I'm it needs to be in the background, not at the same level as my voice. But I feel I have to scream now. And it could just be me. I don't know what it's like for you, but that's why I turned it down, because it was like that. But like, Jesus. Major complaint. If you're putting music in a game, make sure all your tracks are at the same level, so it's not like, what is down here? And what is up here? Like, Jesus. It's disorienting. Anyway. Karma. Llama. Lance narrows his eyes at him. I challenge you. What? I challenge you to... Excuse me! Lance's eyes widen when he sees me standing there. He eyes the ice at my fingertips, then at his brother's feet, before cravenly stepping back with an apologetic smile. Sorry, I got so riled up I didn't even realize you were standing there, Princess Spacey. Yeah, and this is my argument first. You can deal with him later. You should freeze his feet to the ground for that, Spacey. I ignore Claude and turn to Lance. I need to speak with Claude about something important, Lance, so unless this challenge of yours can't wait, I prefer you come back later. My apologies. Damn right. Stealing my man away from me. I know he's your brother, but like, fuck off, Lance. God. It's typical Brigantian tradition to challenge those who you want to prove yourself to. Lance narrows his eyes at Claude. That's why I'm here to challenge you, Claude. In the end, he's so riled up he completely ignored me. This is where you take off your gloves and you slap him across the face with them. She's not wearing gloves, but I'm just saying. Well, this is why you always carry gloves with you. Slap! How dare you! Hand warmers, anything. You know what, girl? Just backhand him. Bitch! Later! Claude looks at him for a few moments, disgruntled. Then he smirks. Usually I'm the one to challenge you. But if you insist, you're going to have to let me choose the challenge. I haven't forgotten the last time you chose chess. It wasn't my fault people were cheering for me because I had the better disposition. Do you know how difficult it is to win at chess when people are jeering at you? Lance inclines his head toward me. Why don't we let the princess select the challenge? Oh, I see where this is going. Claude looks like he's about to protest before he notices the frown on my face. Fine. After you select the challenge, I'll tell you everything you wanted to know, Spacey. No more running. You promise? I promise. I can either put them on a level playing field or give Claude the advantage. It's kind of funny. Because, like, when I looked at the guide, I was like, huh. And then when Lance came up and I was like, wait, are we going to challenge him? And then he's challenging him, but then I'm like, well, okay, so we get to pick it. So obviously, like, we pick sword fighting. An uncharacteristically intense light comes into Claude's eyes as he stares at his brother. A good suggestion, Spacey. He glares at Lance, because I figured chess... Well, chess is for the good ending, obviously, but... Fight me. What? Lance looks obviously disheartened. He looks at me, and for a few moments his eyes are so pleading I almost feel the need to reconsider. We'll settle this with a duel. It'll be very traditional and straightforward, and no cheating, and we'll only use practice swords. I'm giving Claude the advantage here, but regardless of what happens, I do believe this will help the two of them see eye to eye. We can have either Jurian or Garland oversee the match, so long as they're not busy. What is this? Is my little brother a coward? No, I accept your challenge. I thought I clicked, but I guess not. A competitive glint sparkles in Lance's eyes as he holds Claude's gaze. You don't... Like, there's a part of, like, you that wants, like, Lance to win so he feels better about himself. And then, like, Claude gets a little dose of humility. But at the same time, you're like, no, fuck that shit. I want Claude to win. I'm rooting for Claude, bitch. Like, I'm gonna support my man. There's twerpy little brother. Look, I love Karma, okay? He's my Karma chameleon and I love him to death. Singing that song all fucking night. Fuck this game. No, I love it. But like, seriously, damn you game making me sing that. Constantly. Pops into my head randomly anyway. Good. Now that you two have decided on a challenge, you're done. Now if you don't mind, Lance, I have business with my fiancé. Lance bobs his head politely at me. Of course, thank you for your assistance, Princess Spacey. He flashes me a grateful smile before turning away, not even bothering to say anything to his brother. Once Lance is gone, I turn to Claude with my eyebrows raised. Please let's change scenes so that this music is killing me. Sorry. It's really fucking loud. It's nice, but it's too loud. You told me before you'd tell me what was happening between you and Lance, that you would tell me what had been bothering you. You've been insisting that you're fine when you're not. And because of you, I've been having nightmares. You have? Miss Spacey, I had no idea. I apologize. If you're sorry, then you'll tell me what's going on. Claude nods his head at me slowly, defeated. After dispelling the ice at his feet, I half lead, half pull him back to my room. Our room. Oh, thank God, there goes. I know this music is almost like you can't hear it at all. And I have to turn it up, but it's like, again, it's like the tone is just, like, you need to fix the levels, that's it. When we return, I take a seat by the window while Claude makes himself comfortable at the piano bench. As always, you're trying to run from your responsibilities. I must disagree with you. I've shirked no responsibilities. But you have. You have a responsibility to tell me when something's wrong. We made a promise 2 years ago that there'd be no more secrets between us. For a few moments, Claude only looks at me quietly. He looks somewhere in between melancholy and thoughtful, almost like he's lost in his own reverie. When he finally does speak, he looks calmer. Allow me to start off first by apologizing. And there are 2 reasons I never said anything. And the first is simple. I thought that these feelings I had would be fleeting. I didn't expect them to cling to me so persistently. And my second reason... He sighs. Every person has their share of pride. I know what I'm feeling is petty, which is why I would have rather not brought it up to you. I furrow my eyebrows at Claude. Claude, you know you can always talk to me. I'd rather you tell me things openly without me having to pry them out of you. Unless you would rather I shock the truth out of you. A small strand of electricity travels up my arm on accident when I say that, but Claude seems to think I've called it on purpose. He shrinks back. I think I'd rather not make you angry. The last time you were irritated, you sliced off my hair. He puts a hand absently to the back of his neck and grumbles. You deserve that. Turning your back on someone during a fight is antagonizing. Claude sighs. I'm sorry. I'm just in the habit of keeping things secret. I told you before that my father and mother are all about appearances, haven't I? A father believes that keeping things to oneself is a good way to show self-discipline and control. I've always lived by those words. It wasn't until I met you that I began to realize how important sharing the truth was. He leans back against the piano, eyes narrowed slightly in thought. Finally, he shrugs his shoulders. If you want the pathetic truth, then I'll share it willingly. My current irritation comes from a lack of self-confidence. My brother's and mine. What? Like, you're so arrogantly confident. Yes, but it's all a facade. The most confident people that are out there, like, oh, I'm so fucking awesome and everything about my life, and I'm great, and like everything, like, you have the most self-confidence issues ever. Like, everyone has, like, moments here and there. Like, some days you're, like, really confident and some days you're not. But if that person is like, man, I'm fucking awesome. I got no problem. Yeah, I'm great. Everything about me is awesome. It's like, wow, you are the most, like, you have no self-confidence. You were just faking it. It's all a bunch of bullshit. Keep telling yourself that. Like the worst. Hard to believe, isn't it? I think back to the way Claude interacted with the king in the throne room. To me, he seemed quite at ease. And sometimes you act it so well that you get used to it and you're like, it's all an act. But I'm so good at it, even I don't know I'm acting anymore. He crosses his arms and groans. Lance is like a mirror. What? Whenever he's here, I can't help but think on the things that I left behind and the responsibilities I have before me. And not only that, but Lance's insecurities remind me of my own. His stem from the lack of confidence in leading, and mine stem from being inadequate at following. All my life I've been training to be the Brigantian king. I was a good student. I could afford missing my lessons because I was naturally gifted. I don't mean to gloat, I swear. Of course not. He sighs. Anyway, here every lesson is a struggle. Your father holds different opinions on politics and responsibilities. Sometimes when I'm sitting in with the council listening to them make decisions based off Angeal's conflicted history, I feel out of my element. Staying with you and Jill is my choice, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But sometimes I miss home. I miss the comfort of the responsibilities that I know. So the reason you were so irritated at Lance earlier was because you're jealous of him? Aw. I suppose if you wanted to simplify the problem, yes. But jealousy's such an ugly word. He runs a hand through his hair and sighs. On my most dreadful days, I can't help but feel that I was easy to replace in the first place. Lance has always been well liked by everyone. He wasn't cursed. But you and Lance are nothing alike. He's like, exactly! They like him! We're nothing alike! It was easy to replace me with somebody everybody liked more. I get that feeling. I get it. You were like, hey, I like me, and everyone else is like, we don't though. And you're like, oh, I feel like crap now. You know what I mean? Struggling tiny little channel where you're just doing your own shit, enjoying yourself, and you gotta listen to people be like, your voice acting is cringy. Fuck you. Like, yes it is, but shut up and keep your mouth leave! It is cringy, but like, some people are here and enjoy it, okay? And I appreciate those of you who do. But like, when you hear people like make comments like that, like, it's like, you know what? I was enjoying my tiny little corner of the internet with the tiny little group of people who enjoy the cringe. Don't be a dick. Go away. Like, but then you're like, oh. Or you just watch other people and you're like, why is everybody like this? But not, you know, I get it. Claude, I get it. Oh, what the hell was that? My God, I'm sorry, it's my phone. No spam, go away. No, my phone won't turn off, sorry. It was easier when it was the Harry Potter, like, theme song, as opposed to an actual, like, music song, because then I hear the lyrics and I just want to sing with it, and it distracts me, so I have to, like, hold on, I gotta mute it, I can't just ignore it. Plus, that's the last thing I need, is to get copyrighted for, like, my fucking phone in the background, if you can hear it. I don't know if you can, but anyway. No, not at all. But I at least know he's just as capable of being competent. Yet when I see him now, being so insecure of himself, I feel doubly irritated. If he's going to take up the title that I've been training for all my life, the least he can do is take it seriously. So in the end, you're worried about him. Claude looks at me, surprised. Am I wrong? You worry about him, and you worry about yourself. The more I talk about it, the pettier it seems. This is why I didn't want to bring it up in the first place. Oh, that's Claude saying that. I was like, why are we saying that? It doesn't seem petty at all. It's like, it's honest, and like, because that's Claude saying it, not me. The more I talk about it, the pettier it seems. And this is why I didn't want to bring it up in the first place. No, but it's good, because it's not petty. It's just the way, like, we're supposed to tease him. That seems so mean. That seems so fucking mean. I love the way this, like, and then the lily turns, and it's, like, not round. Like, I love that. Anyway, it seems so mean to tease him, but I guess that's kind of the way we are. Perhaps a change of atmosphere is for the better. Okay. I'm disappointed, Chameleon Prince. Claude looks up at me, startled. What? Claude sometimes refers to himself by that nickname here when he's being dramatic. Like during our sword practices. It's just an extension of his nickname from home, but it seems to do wonders to his self-confidence. I stand up and cross my arms. The Chameleon Prince Aina is overfilled with confidence. He faces his problems head-on and doesn't let his emotions get the better of him. I would go so far as to say that he even shares his problems with confidence and without thinking them a weakness. The man sitting here before me is indeed a petty man, but only because he lowers himself to such. It doesn't sound like we're teasing him so much as berating him, but sure. Spacey, I'm afraid you've been demoted to just chameleon now. Claude rises from the bench and takes a step toward me. Did you just say demoted? Your heart is as cold as ice, love. Perhaps, but at least I wear my ice-cold heart on my sleeve. Claude puts a hand to his chest and sighs out dramatically. Much to my relief, he's now wearing a smile on his face. And yet, that wasn't always the case, was it? Somehow, you always manage to upstage me, darling. You know how hard I've been working to be the perfect prince. Of course I do, and that's exactly why I think that you're think that you hiding things from me is so foolish. It may be wise to hide things in front of other people, but I'm not just some other person, am I? Of course not. You see? You may think keeping your emotions tucked away makes you appear more confident, but I know better than anyone else when you're hiding something. Yes. Because you're my fiancé, right? Of course. But also because I'm the Tenebrarum bearer. You couldn't hide anything negative from me, even if you wanted to. A fair point. In retrospect, this whole problem is far more exaggerated than it need to be. Claude winks at me. I never do anything half-heartedly, darling. That's kind of funny. I'm relieved that the gloomy mood from earlier is dissipated. One of the good things about Claude is that he usually recognizes when he's in the wrong and tries his best to remedy the situation quickly. He's just stubborn and needs to learn to rely on me more. What happened to the sophistication you displayed in the throne room earlier? Oh, I'm always the picture of sophistication. Right. Claude's smile becomes softer. Anyway, thank you, Spacey. I think I needed that talk. It's ironic that Claude is the one that taught me that secrets are dangerous when he himself is still learning to share them. You don't need to thank me, but shouldn't you apologize to Lance? Claude's expression snaps into something somber. Nonsense. Lance and I will figure this out as we always do, by competing one-on-one. Passionate challenges always encourage Lance to spill the contents of his heart to other people. I'm not the one in my family who's good at keeping secrets, you know. Oh, I'm not the only one in my family that's good at keeping secrets, you know. And the moment Claude became engaged to you, I became next in line for the Brigantian throne. Father's been waiting for me to give a speech officially announcing that. And how is the speech going? Terribly. I die a slow death in front of large crowds. Claude's always been better in the spotlight than I have. I prefer speaking to people one-on-one. Large crowds are terrifying. Is it possible that there's more to that worry than Lance was letting on? And don't worry about Lance. I only ever provoke him when I need him to talk to me. It's my responsibility as an older brother to set him straight after all. You two are both so problematic. Well, we are brothers. I'm just lucky that I have a certain lovely witch here to listen to my woes, sorry. Thank you for that, Spacey. We also lessen his woes by listening to his woes. With that, the heart of the problem at least is solved. The both of us are both able to go our own ways with confidence. I did not get a CG on this chapter. Well, we're not necessarily done with it, but I'm just saying that we have no more choices. Things have finally winded down for the day when I make my way back to my bedroom. I'm almost there when I stop, seeing two familiar faces. Oh, Spacey! Good evening, Princess Spacey. Both Emmeline and Lance smile at me. Hello, Emmeline. Hello, Lance. I glance between the two of them, curious. Oh my god, are you guys falling in love? I was expecting that. Like, I was kind of thinking it when they were like, are they gonna get together? Because that's, like, weird. Like, it's cute, but weird. Are the two of you on some nighttime stroll? Oh no, Prince Lance was assisting me with a dance lesson. A dance lesson? Normally Rod helps me with dancing, but since we've been learning a Brigantian-style dance this week, I had Lance assist me instead. In exchange for the extra dance lessons, Emmeline's been helping me with some other things. Other things? Clarify yourself, Lance! Are you heading back now? I am. I saw Claude pass by earlier. He seemed in better spirits than before. Lance's expression darkens at the mention of his brother. Karma. Emmeline looks at him, curious. Oh, right! You have that challenge with him in a few days. It seems that they've figured out a time, then. Lance narrows his eyes. I will destroy him. Oh my! And here I thought Rod and I were competitive. It's just funny that Rod and I are competitive. Anyway, we're going to head out now. Good night, Spacey. The two of them pass me by, and I continue on my way to my bedroom. We got a CG now. Oh, we're in our bedroom alone with Claude. We get saucy CG? Probably not. He's playing the piano, isn't he? Nope. I thought based on the piano-y music in the background, but no. The first thing I see upon entering the room is Claude standing in front of the wardrobe, looking deep in thought. He mumbles lightly and casts a glance over his shoulder at me as I enter. What? No knock. Not when this is my room, no. He pauses briefly, his eyes fixated on me for some reason. Without even realizing it, I grasp the pendant at my neck. What? Is there something on my face? I just noticed you were wearing the necklace. My fingers loosen around the pendant. Why wouldn't I be wearing it? It's become my most valuable possession, after all. I can see the recognition in Claude's eyes when I laugh. He glances again at the necklace, eyes soft. I'm glad I could get you something you can always wear around. As for me... He returns his attention to the closet. Looking for something? Yes, one of my nightshirts. He sighs as he squints into the wardrobe. I already know what shirt he's looking for. I'm amazed he hasn't already found it, considering I can spot it on the bed. I slowly inch my way toward the shirt as he closes the closet doors. I manage to grab it and hide it behind my back just as he turns around. Spacey, have you seen... He stops when he notices the way I'm standing against the bed. Slowly, he begins to make his way over to me, a casual smile on his face. I don't know where this is going, but it's kind of amusing. We're just hiding it from him for some reason. I don't know why that makes me, laugh. I wonder where it could be. He stops right in front of me and then, without any words at all, attempts to grab the shirt from behind me. I dodge out of the way just in time and circle the bed to put some distance between us. He raises an eyebrow. What's this? Are we playing some kind of game now? A game? This is no game. I'm just getting back at you for keeping secrets from me. He's like, I'll just sleep shirtless then. Oh! Burns the nightshirt. I guess we're gonna have to burn all of your nightclothes then. If I burn everything, are you gonna sleep naked? When you say nightshirt, is it more like a nightgown, but you can't call it a gown, but it's like, that's all you wear to sleep? We're gonna burn them all. Guess you're gonna have to sleep naked now. I try my best to frown at him, but to no avail. The smile keeps coming back to my lips, no matter how much I try to force it off. I can't sleep naked, it would drive me crazy. I can't. Perhaps if you ask me very nicely for the shirt, I shall return it. Claude takes a step forward and lays a hand on his chest. Spacey, my love, could you please return my shirt? Dramatics aside, I can't help but cave beneath his pleading gaze. I'm about to hand the shirt to him when he reaches forward and in one swift motion, snatches it straight out of my hands. Hey! Claude shrugs out of his coat with a coy smile. You should know better than to let your guard down in front of me, darling. He turns his back on me as he pulls off his shirt and reaches for the other one. Let my guard down in front of him? Hardly. I approach him swiftly, and before he can react, push him down on the bed. Hi. He only has a few moments to stare at me, baffled, before I pin him down. Now we're playing games. Who's letting their guard down now? Are you sure I didn't let my guard down on purpose? I roll my eyes at him when he grins, then lean down to plant a kiss on his lips. I loosen my grips on his wrists, but only enough so that I can lace them through his fingers. Before I realize it, I'm lying beside him, rather than looming above him. Oh, hi! Okay, we only get shoulders and a little back, but we still get shirtless. I appreciate it. If I'm being honest, I much prefer this to you pinning me down to the bed. Really? Because, that sounds fun too. Why? Does your self-esteem crumble when I get the better of you? Still sharp as a knight's blade, I see. Sharper than you in any case. She looks absolutely beautiful in this. Like the hair, the art, just her face, everything. It's just beautiful. Claude opens his mouth to say something, but I don't give him the chance to retort. I seal his lips with a kiss. He pulls me closer and brushes a finger against my lips. It's truly impressive that you always manage such sharp words, even in moments like these. I have to admit that you have the better comebacks. Are you actually admitting that I'm better than you at something? I have to give you credit where credit is due. He draws closer to me and sets his hand on the small of my back. His lips once again brush mine. I can feel the heat rise in my cheeks and, fearing that I'm blushing, quickly bury my head into Claude's chest so he can't see my face. I can feel his laugh reverberate through my body. Your embarrassment is endearing, Spacey. You realize you do this to yourself, though. I have no idea what you're talking about. Do you remember last time you set up the rose bath for me, and then threw a towel at me and screamed when I insisted you join me? Why would you bring that up again? Because seeing you blush, your blushing smile is a precious thing. He puts a hand to my face and tilts my head upward gently. His lips are already parted when they meet mine, and they're all that I can focus on. Why would you not take a bath with him? Have you never seen him naked? I mean, you're seeing him shirtless right now. I'm just assuming if you sleep in the same bed, shit's happened. I barely notice when Claude runs a hand down the small of my back, his lips still pressed to mine. He breaks the kiss and trails his lips down the side of my neck. I can feel his warm breath in my ear when he whispers, "Well, I'm assuming you pushed me down for a reason." My heart beats too loud for me to even process my whirling thoughts. I decide to let my retort go when Claude presses his lips to mine again, sending a shiver of warmth down from my head to the rest of my body. I don't want to read the sexy scene. It's nice if you imply it happens. Don't make me read it. You know how I feel about that. Oh yes, fade to black. We can just imagine shit happened. Oh, the burden of my responsibilities falls away from my body that night. All that remains as I fall into the comforting silence is Claude's warmth and his gentle breath at my neck. That sounds more like we just fell asleep like that, but I'm just gonna assume it was more. The princess and her prince. But with the start of chapter 5, this is the perfect place to end it because we're like at times. So, I mean, this is where I kind of figured we'd get to, but also chapter 4 took a while. But then again, it could have been my rambling. It's probably my rambling. So we'll start chapter 5. I don't know if we'll finish in the next part because we still have 2 chapters, and I don't know if chapter 6 is like, you know, a normal length, or it's shorter, or if it's longer. So it might be like 2 more parts, but at any rate, we'll find out. So I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.